Welcome to the Eric Avasar Show. Now time for the last part of my 8-part series previewing every group of the 2018 UEFA Champions League. And, Group G. What a group it is. Very intriguing. So many great storylines. Can't wait to see how it plays out. I've mentioned earlier in this series certain clubs that have expectations that are so high that simply winning their domestic league is not enough anymore. Juventus falls under that bracket. They have made winning Serie A look easy, frankly, over the past few years. They've dominated, and that domination's going to only become greater with the second best player in the world in their squad now, with Cristiano Ronaldo. What a huge coup for that team. And, I really thought he was going to end his career in MLS, but he only wants to play at the top level. You have to respect that competitive drive. Look, this Juventus team is the deepest side in all of Europe. Their B team, their backups, would beat most of the teams in the Champions League. They are in great position to win the competition this year. I've talked about the phrase embarrassment of riches. It applies to the Italian top dogs with the likes of Miralem Pjanic, who's scored so many wonder goals for both Roma and now at Juve. Phenomenal talent. Love the way he plays the game. Paulo Dybala, future Ballon d'Or contender. Absolutely criminally underused by Sampaoli over the summer at the World Cup. I can't wait to see what he has in store. I hope he plays with a real chip on his shoulder. Now, the guys who are really going to help set this team apart are perhaps the lesser-known studs, guys like Blaise Matuidi, the ageless wonders like Giorgio Chiellini and Leonardo Bonucci. Those are the guys who will really help you figure out if Juve is ready to take that next leap forward. They're going to win this group. There's no doubt about that. The question is if they're going to seriously contend for the whole shebang. Now, Manchester United, they are absolutely destined for disaster. Jose Mourinho is living in the past. The team is struggling, falling apart at the seams. We all know that Romelu Lukaku chokes on the big stage. Paul Pogba is fed up. He can't wait to leave Manchester United, although I'm sure he feels stuck at this point. Unfortunately, Luke Shaw suffered another devastating injury just when it seemed like he had gotten his career fully back on track. You really have to feel for him. Meanwhile, when you're talking about center backs, Eric Bailly is amongst the world's best. But Christopher Smalling and Phil Jones, talk about disappointments, guys who didn't come anywhere near reaching their potential or what was expected of them when they came to the club. What their hopes are being pinned on are not the likes of true up-and-coming talents like Anthony Martial or Marcus Rashford, guys who have been practically thrown by the wayside at times by Mourinho. It's going to come down to the apathetic and indifferent Alexis Sanchez, who doesn't seem like he can be bothered to really make a real contribution considering his state of mind at this point. I don't think he really wants to be in Manchester either. So it's a team that seems destined for failure. Valencia, it's a team filled with underrated players who can't quite break into their country's national sides, but are still phenomenal talents and would start, of course, for most countries, and they'll be here on Europe's biggest stage. I'm talking about the likes of Kevin Gamero and Michy Batshuayi, two of the most underrated forwards in the world. Batshuayi had a great loan spell at Borussia Dortmund. I'm sure Valencia is delighted to have him. Gamero, another phenomenal goal scorer with a great eye and nose for goal. He's just a natural guy to put his name on the score sheet. Daniel Parejo, very strong captain for that side. He will be partnering in midfield with the dominant and creative Denis Cheryshev, one of the gems of this past summer's World Cup. Not to mention Kondogbia, a great French international, and, former Real Madrid man Ezekiel Garay. Sure, you could call them the team of rejects or cast-offs, but the quality is there, and they are going to be ready to give it to Manchester United. They're going to kick Manchester United out of the Champions League this year. I'm calling it now. Now, when it comes to the final team in this group, young boys, insert joke here about the rest of the teams, making them look like young boys out on the pitch. It's going to be a really, really rough go for them. I don't see them making really much of any noise in this group. But Valencia has to be really licking their lips at this group because Manchester United is a team falling apart at the seams, destined for disaster as long as Mourinho is there. And it'll be interesting to see if they can perhaps maybe give Juventus a challenge as well. So I'm taking Juventus to win the group handily, Valencia finishing second, and Manchester United crashing out, going into the Europa League, probably a more suitable competition for them with young boys rounding out the group. Please make sure you join my UEFA Champions League fantasy group, The Eric Avasar Show. Thank you so much for tuning in, and please be sure to subscribe to my channel.